Shema, Yasha'Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Ahud. That's Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Bahalashawan Kwadash. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors. Peace and blessing to you, Aki, and pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last seconds of time. Kwam Yashala, Mighty Shalom, and this lesson is entitled, Why Do the Heathen Rage and the People Imagine a Vain Thing, 2025. And this is pretty much going into an interview that the president did, which I believe was earlier today or maybe yesterday or so, all right, in which he ultimately stated that joining up with China would make America bigger and better. All right, so I'm going to just go into some details of this interview and filter it through the scriptures, Lord willing, it's edifying. So it says, AI overview, yes. In a recent interview, the president stated that America can be bigger, better, and stronger by working with China as opposed to completely decoupling or just knocking them out. All right, and the scriptures tell us this. This is Proverbs 11 and 21. It says, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Malachi 1 and 4 says, Esau, Edom is the border of wickedness. All right. So even though these nations join together, which China is a part of the BRICS system, which BRICS, BRICS, stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, I believe. And you have a host of other nations that are joining the BRICS nations and assembling themselves against the American dollar, against this westernized system. But you have America still trying to mask economic strength by saying that teaming up with China would ultimately make them stronger, bigger, better, greater. All right. But it really doesn't matter. You could team up with China. You could team up with Russia. All right, which we know ultimately these nations are going to shoot their nuclear missiles over here at America, whether they be enemies or allies of this place. But you could team up with whoever you want. All right, the scriptures say, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? So all of this clicking up, all of this joining together, grouping up is going to lead into your ultimate destruction. So it says, Proverbs 11 and 21, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. That's right. So China can join with America all they want. All right. It's ultimately going to be the Lord's will that's going to be fulfilled, because the Lord said he mustered the hosts of the battle. So the Lord ultimately is assembling these nations. All right. In the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which Yahweh Shaphat goes into Armageddon, mountain of troops, valley of decision. So the Lord is assembling these nations for the third world's war. And it's nothing that one nation getting together with another nation, trying to fuel the economy, all right, or increase the imports or the exports. It's nothing they can do ultimately to stop biblical prophecy. So it says, these comments came on the heels of a new trade and economic deal reached with China in late October/early November 2025, which was just recently. It says key aspects of his recent stance in the deal include trade truce. The U.S. and China agreed to a 1-year trade truce, pausing new tariffs and investigations, which Trump believes safeguards U.S. economic strength and national security while putting American interests first. It says economic benefits. The deal is expected to provide specific benefits to the U.S., such as China agreeing to purchase tremendous amounts of U.S. agricultural products. Right, and we know ultimately the scriptures tell us in Revelation that the merchants have waxed rich by the abundance of her delicacies. So these different nations, they've got their main economic strength from America from importing, exporting. And now that that system is failing, they're trying to call all types of truces ultimately to strengthen this economy and so-called get it up and running, so to speak. Scriptures say, heal Babylon if so she may be healed. And that's a sarcasm from the Lord, because ultimately we know this place won't be healed. So it says trade truce, economic benefits. The deal is expected to provide specific benefits to the U.S., such as China agreeing to purchase tremendous amounts of U.S. agricultural products like soybeans and energy, and suspending certain exports controls on critical rare earth minerals and magnets needed for U.S. industries. And like I said in Revelation, it says the merchants shall stand afar off, wailing, because ultimately they know this system is going to crash. So this is just a mask, just to pretty much put a Band-Aid over this place in an attempt to fool the people as if these nations are in agreement, all right? But the scriptures tell us, this is Psalms chapter 2, verse 1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. And I'll just get that in the NLT, because it goes into the word futile, which goes into pretty much useless. Psalms 2:1, why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? And I got that word futile really quick. It says futile, incapable of producing result. Incapable of producing result. From French, futile, are directly from Latin, futilis. Futilis, vain, worthless, futile. It says literally pouring out, easily emptied. That's right. Vain, worthless. So these different plans that these nations are clicking up and assembling themselves to do, they're literally worthless. They're useless. They're not going to come to pass. They're not going to come into fruition. Prophecy ultimately will, though. So it says, the kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord and against his anointed one. Let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to God. But the one who rules in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. That's right, man. So they're literally trying to escape biblical prophecy. They're trying to escape slavery, especially the wicked who is Esau, Edom, who's ultimately going to be in slavery for 1,000 years. All right. And then exterminated out of the earth. So this attempt for these nations to get together is futile. China, America, all right, which they're going to go at each other eventually. America's enemies as well as its allies are going to shoot nuclear missiles over here, man. All right. So these different plans and these plots by these nations to come together, whether it be to get the economy up and running, whether it be to advance the nuclear strength, it's all futile. So Lord willing is quick. Here was edifying. I'm going to give infinite honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachak, Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings. Until next time, Kwam Yashala, mighty Shalom.